Why, hello there. Hopefully, everybody's having an awesome Monday. I had a good Monday here at work. I got one task done, and that task was a pretty big task. Needless to say, we got rid of a lot of stuff at work, so it's not all bad. And even though it was only one task, it was a really big task, and I'm a little tired because it was a lot of hard work. But anyways, talking about hard work, I think it's easy to say that this person, General Colin Powell, probably worked hard for most of his life. And unfortunately, he is dead at 84. Of course, I do know the cause of death, and we'll probably get to that. But can we take a moment here to say that he was 84 years old and he was still spry? He was still active. That's pretty much a big accomplishment. But, anyways, let's go ahead and go to our favorite line news source, CNN, which sometimes reports real news. Why Colin Powell cancer likely reduces protection from COVID-19 vaccine. I'm not a doctor. This isn't medical advice. This is CNN Health. I don't know who Jen Christensen is. I don't know if she has a medical degree, but she's the author of this story here from CNN Health. I might have an opinion, but it is in that age group. If I was 84, I'd probably take the vaccine without hesitation, mainly because I'm 84. And, a cricket could just look at me funny and I'd be in the hospital for a week because you're 84 years old. But anyway, let's go ahead. I'm kind of going on a little tangent. General Colin Powell died Monday from complications of the COVID-19. An expert says his death shows how important it is for more people to get vaccinated and stop the spread of the virus. Powell was fully vaccinated, but a source close to the matter confirmed to CNN that he had multiple myeloma, a type of blood cancer that would affect his immune system or his immune response to the vaccines and made it difficult to fight the virus. So he had a blood cancer. All right. Peggy Serrifio, Powell's chief of staff, said Powell, 84, also had Parkinson's disease, a neurodegenerative disorder. Multiple myeloma is among the most common blood cancer in the United States and disproportionately affects Black Americans. I don't know why you had to put that in there. They have nearly twice. Well, I'm not even going to read that. You know what? I'm going to avoid the racism. Although COVID-19 vaccine provides a strong protection against severe disease and death in healthy people, multiple myeloma patients are among the immune-compromised group who may not respond as well, studies have shown. One study published in Nature in July shows that 45% of multiple myeloma patients develop an adequate response to the vaccine, while 22% had partial response and 1/3 had no response. It looks like no, I'm not going to go into comment there. Dr. Jonathan Reiner, a CNN medical analyst and professor of medicine and surgery at the George Washington University, said Monday that Powell represents our most vulnerable population in this country. I would not really consider him vulnerable. Just the type of person he was. He was over the age of 80, he had cancer, and treatment for his cancer made him vulnerable. Okay, I can see where they're going from. Reiner told CNN, Jim Scludo and Erica Hill. So when we try to convince the young people who feel that they're at low risk from the virus itself, why they need to be vaccinated is to protect our treasures, our people like General Powell, our grandparents, because while you know a 25-year-old may do quite well with the infection. If it spreads to someone like General Powell, they will not. That is imperative for the vaccination of this country. That kind of goes to what is multiple myeloma? It is a cancer that forms in the white blood cells called plasma cells. When the plasma cells are healthy, they help fight off infections and toxins by making the immune system proteins called antibodies. Any kind of cancer that begins when cells grow out of control is a type of cancer of cancerous plasma cells starts to accumulate. We have multiple myeloma. The cancer cells fill up in the bone marrow and crowd out the cells that are making the immune system. So your immune system becomes tremendously weakened, says Dr. Drew Pardell, Adolf, professor of oncology medicine, pathogenically and molecular biology, and the genetics at the Johns Hopkins University School of Medicine. Bowel cancer made it difficult to fight off the coronavirus infection, and the treatment could have further weakened his immune system. So it sounds like even if he got the flu or the cold, or pretty much anything, he was pretty much screwed. It's not really related to coronavirus. It's just that's the one that actually did it in. That's what I'm reading. Because your body's already at a weakened state. You throw in something. It could have been anything. It just happened to be coronavirus. Because that's on the rage these days. At least that's what I'm reading. And of course, how is the myeloma treatment or multiple myeloma treated? Treatment for myeloma can include chemotherapy and steroids. Both can weaken the immune system. A stem cell transplant may also be part of the treatment for some patients, according to the American Cancer Society. Earlier this year, the U.S. Food and Drug Administration approved a type of treatment called chimeric antigen receptors T-cell therapy, or CAR-T therapy for people with multiple myeloma. I'm pretty sure I'm slaughtering this word, and I really don't care. They should really make these diseases easy to pronounce. Who have not responded to earlier cancer treatments, such therapies change the patient's T cells so they can better attack cancer cells. We made good progress, but it's still a tough disease to treat, says Dr. William Kantz, Chief Medical and Scientific Officer of the American Cancer Society. Multiple myeloma patients can live for many years with the treatment, but is not considered curable. So you're pretty much treating the treatments, which makes it be livable for the next couple of years, is what I'm assuming. I mean, it's kind of like AIDS, where we could treat the treatments, or not treatment, but the symptoms, where it allows you to live a comfortable life for many years. And of course, now I think there is almost a cure for AIDS, but not quite a cure because you can't cure a disease. There are many treatments for multiple blah blah blah, often will work early on, but ultimately the tumor cells develop a resistance, and you'll go onto another therapy and to another therapy. Pardell said there is essentially no therapy for multiple myeloma that cures the patient of the disease. So oftentimes with therapies available, individuals can live for many years, sometimes even over 10 years. How much longer is this? Okay. Got 2 more segments. Why wouldn't vaccines work for people with multiple myeloma? Even if vaccinated people with multiple myeloma, many other health conditions may not be able to mount the kind of immune response a healthy person would. Vaccines like COVID vaccines give our immune systems a little tiny taste or a tiny example of the COVID virus, so that they would produce these antibodies that put on a lot of extra soldiers on the ground. That's kind of funny. Who would specifically can attack the virus? When plasma cells that make the antibodies become cancerous, they're not as adept at making antibodies that you would need for specific pathogens like the virus that causes COVID. So basically, if you're making crap soldiers, you're going to have crap soldiers. You won't be able to be fighting the battle effectively. It's pretty much what this whole paragraph says. I think it's kind of funny because the extra soldiers, because he's a colonel. Yeah, I think you get it. Studies have shown that patients with blood cancers, including multiple myeloma, have a higher risk of severe COVID-19, says Dr. Anthony Rebus, a director of the Tumor Immunology Program at the UCLA Johnson Comprehensive Cancer Center and the president of Americans. Yeah, we get it. Among patients with the common blood cancers, only 40% to 70% produce antibodies to fight COVID-19 after vaccine, compared to 98 to 100% of the healthy people, he said. Patients with multiple myeloma may be even fewer. These patients are at a disadvantage to fight the virus. Even with the vaccine, data have shown that people with multiple myeloma, 20% to 30% of them do not have a good immune response to vaccinations. Yeah, I'm not going to read the rest of this because it's pretty much kind of saying the same thing. What's this here? This is not a failure of the vaccine, but rather a failure of the person's body to whom the vaccine was administered, says Dr. David Cohen, the chief medical officer at the Ohio State University Comprehensive Cancer Center. It's rather interesting. Kind of interesting to kind of hear the medical side of the reasons why. Mainly because, people at age 84, they live a long life and their bodies live a long life. Their body been under attack since they were born. This person has served pretty much 84 years of this constant attack. When I say constant attack, I mean you get a virus, your body attacks it. You get another virus, your body attacks it over and over and over and over. We're pretty much bombarded with viruses and bacteria on a daily basis. And sometimes we get sick and sometimes we don't. And sometimes we live at the age of 84 before our body just gives up. With that being said, I don't always agree with General Colin Powell opinions, but one thing I did notice about him is most of the time his opinions were based off of research and were well founded. Not necessarily that I agree with his decisions, but at least he was able to put it into the work to make a educated opinion about everything. This pretty much ends a era of politics. We don't know if we're going to be better off without him. Some will say yes, some will say no, and some are indifferent. But the world continues on, and an icon is gone. And let the history books judge him for the actions he's did. With that being said, leave a comment down below. Remember, YouTube, I am not a doctor. I was reading an article. Yes, I may have some opinions, but I'm not a medical doctor. This is not medical advice. Consult your doctor before making any medical decisions. But smash the like and subscribe button on all platforms, or just the platform that you watched it on. But most importantly, have yourself a wonderful day, morning, or evening.